This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and good morning to this rolling start and a rollicking Sunday morning. I don't know why it's rollicking. My name is James Henry. BK is on the camera, and you can see that he is wearing long sleeves because it is quite cold today. Around about maybe a little bit warmer than that. It's not freezing, but it is cool. And we are heading towards the northern boundary of the reserve to see if we can find an animal. We have to be static apparently while we're doing our segments today on account of the fact that the picture on this vehicle is not working, and I really am so frustrated by that. That's good. Well done, BK. You panned off me before I embarrassed myself and everybody else. We're just struggling with the tech at the moment, but we'll hopefully have it right fairly soon. And there are bits and pieces of equipment coming in that should help us. Where was I? Yes, so we have to do stationary segments. With any luck, we'll find an animal that is not running, and then we'll be able to look at it and show it to you. Please talk to us. Hashtag Wild Earth on the tweet. Alternatively, the website or the YouTube chats will be good. And this is a good time for me to remind you, I think, that the use of profanities, any kind of abusive language or such, will not be tolerated in the chats. There has been one eager, I'm not even going to call this person a viewer, troll, who keeps returning to the chats and being unpleasant. And so I would ask that all of you look out for this person, flag them, and tell them where to get off the bus. That'll be great. Our moderators are doing a great job of that anyway. Okay, that's all the housekeeping done. And now we'll just stare into the east, and now we'll go and have a look at the weather.
Well, it is raining, everybody. Good morning. There might be a bit of a gap in the clouds right now, but it's been raining since dinner last night, or at least since we got home from drive. Hello, everybody. My name is Steve. I'm joined by Gert on camera, and we are out and about on this wonderful Sunday morning. I think it's Sunday.
Yes.
It's Sunday. To see what we can find. What are we going to find? Now, apparently the dam cameras have reported Mawati was calling on the dam cam at 11 o'clock last night. Didn't get him on camera, but somehow they know it's Mawati. How do we know? We don't know. I don't know. A leopard was calling on the dam cam, and 11:30 is a very long time ago. Mawati hasn't been seen in how long now? It's been a while. I wonder if Mission Control can tell me when last Mawati was seen on camera. When last did I even see the track of a big male leopard? It's not distant. And he's a busy boy. He's normally a busy boy. I'm just going to take a slow cruise this morning. I'm going to find absolutely every animal we potentially can. 28th of March. That can't be. I was already back. Oh, I started on the 28th of March. I don't know, Gwen, you said 28th of March. That I'm confused. I was on that afternoon drive, wasn't I? I came back on the 27th. I was driving on the 28th. Okay. Okay. Treehouse Dam. Okay. Not so long ago then. Not so long ago. Not going to be a great tracking morning, but we're going to do what we can. A glimpse of him would be enough, Kelly. Well, that's generally what we're given, is a glimpse. Sometimes you aren't even given the glimpse. You come to us and we tell you, oh, we had him. And that's about it. Okay, so we're going to remain positive this morning. Positive for some cool action. Darkman Lover coming right up. You feel like it's going to be one? Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Not a track coming away from the dam or going towards it that I could see of a leopard, but there are some hyena tracks. So good morning everybody, happy Sunday. I hope wherever you find yourself in the world you're nice and cozy. I know there's massive weather systems in the Cape right now and weather warnings and danger warnings, so if you are down there, I hope you're staying warm, hope you're staying dry. Up here we're doing our best to stay dry. Not sure if it's a system that's hit the whole country, but it seems like it. I haven't checked the weather. Sunday fun day, Picasso. It's going to be an exciting drive. Well, you're all sounding very positive out there, which is good. We'll keep our chin up. Hopefully the rain stays away, although it's looming. I can just feel the little droplets. So much so that I'm going to be putting these back on so that I don't squint. Much better. Ah, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to go. Looks like a new Franklin covey there. Are they going to stay for us? Are they going to stay for us, little baby Franklins? Hello. Oh, hello, little ones. I think it's a crest. Oh, it's a Swanson spurfowl. youngsters of the spurfowls and franklins are very hard to differentiate between. They look very similar, but there's Mama. Hello, Mama. What a good job you've done. Don't forget to look right and left and then right again when crossing the road, everybody. Or it depends what country you find yourself in. It might be left, right, and left again. I'm not sure. Lovely little Swanson spurfowl. A bit of a late brood, but these ground nesting birds will breed later in the season if the grass gets more rain.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We are here at Amakhala Private Game Reserve in the southern parts of the Eastern Cape, and you are live with us on this very early morning for our sunrise safari. It is a cold-ish day. I would say it's about the same as yesterday. Hello everybody, my name is Eric, joined by Morgan behind the camera, and this morning we're going to be your eyes and ears on this very chilly day. Ooh, we have a brown-hooded kingfisher announcing his presence. That's quite nice. You don't usually get to hear them calling so close to us like that. But as I said, we've got an overcast skies, or it looks overcast, and some of the clouds obviously thicker than others, and a wind, a present wind, and a chilly one too. I'm pretty sure this wind blew all night from yesterday afternoon. So it actually hasn't stopped, and it's going to continue throughout the whole of today. So we might as well get used to it now. But, well, the chilliness is not easy to get used to. Anyway, what we're looking at is some hairy star apples. And it is a flower that has, not a flower, a bush that has been fruiting recently. And, well, they fruited, and probably 2 or 3 days after some of them started fruiting, their fruits already disappeared to birds, mice, and a strange animal that I saw eating this fruit was a jackal. I mean, the jackal was, he or she was picking the fruit purposely off the bush. Now, I know that the seeds inside the hairy star apple for us are poisonous if we ingest them. I don't quite know. Obviously, with wild animals, you know, their stomachs are obviously a lot stronger than ours and are capable of digesting all sorts of things that our stomachs would simply not. So I think they could tolerate the poisons of the seeds more than what we can. I mean, jackals eat all sorts of things, and a lot of the time they can be rotten, maggot infested, all sorts, especially if they're eating an old carcass. And they'll have no problem doing it. You know, they are the king of scavengers. So their stomachs naturally actually have to be strong in order to stomach such horrible content, or what's the word I'm looking for? Food. But now, most of the fruits that we see on the hairy star apples at the moment have been half eaten. If they haven't been half eaten, then they're not ripe yet. Yvonne, yes, they are. They are definitely able to identify what's good to eat and what is not, simply with a smell. You know, most poisonous fruits, most poisonous plants have a particular smell to it, and you know, sometimes it can be undetectable to the human nose, but to an animal nose that's used to used to smelling all sorts of things. I mean, they use their noses for a lot more than what we do. They can pick up immediately on something's not right with this plant. This plant is not the one I need to be eating. I can smell that this is not right. And you can smell when food is off. You can smell when something is not right, and you generally actually move away from it. Like, say, for instance, a steak, and your steak is not that reddish color it should be, not that meaty color, but that kind of brownish, slowly starting to go greenish color. You already instantly what you should be looking for. You see that and you're like, no, that's not right. You don't even have to lift your nose to it, but most animals would have smelt it already and been already not liking it. And that is the hairy star apple. This is a very, very small shrub here. They generally grow up to, they can grow up to about 3 meters tall, sometimes even taller than that, and like 5 meters wide. Cameron, indeed they are. Generally, vervet monkeys. If you watch vervet monkeys, generally we can stomach the same things they can stomach. However, there's also the other animal called the Chapma baboon that you get all around South Africa, mostly along the coastlines. Actually, well, pretty much all around the interior as well. If you eat something that they eat, you are taking a bit of a risk. We generally eat the same things that monkeys eat because their stomach acids are the same as ours, whereas baboons, they have a much stronger stomach for taking all sorts of food matter. Baboons, as much as scavengers, they are also sometimes active hunters, especially the males. The males will go after impala lambs, they'll go after monkeys, they'll go after springbok lamb, any lamb that's small enough, anything smaller than, I'd say, a red hartebeest. A red hartebeest lamb is pretty big lambs, but anything smaller than that, I would say, is easy game for a Chapma baboon, especially a male. Females tend to stray away from eating meat. Not that they don't, they will, but they tend to actually stick to the insects, the fruits, and other food sources that don't require having to catch something and kill it. Happy Brit, Nature's Supermarket is unbelievable, and at some stage of the Homo sapiens life, Nature's Supermarket was our supermarket, and in some cases it is still our supermarket. With lots of people still living out in the wild, off the land. Obviously, we still have the native Bushmen, or the Khoisan as they call them, further north in South Africa, fairly close to the Namibia, Botswana, South Africa border, sort of there in around the Kalahari Desert. And there, I mean, those people, they used to live on these flats, in these bushes, all around South Africa for years upon years upon years, without any form of civilization. And they made it. They did incredibly well for themselves, actually. And a lot of what we know today comes from them. A lot of the knowledge and medical uses for plants, and also just general uses for plants and trees, have come from knowledge of the Khoisan. And something that I think everybody will know of, rooibos tea. Rooibos tea is a tea that the Bushmen used to drink. we are going to send you over to James, who's also looking at some flowers. Well, we're looking at a shrub. He's looking at a flower.
Here we have got Sphidamnocarpus pruriens. I only stopped here because I am so amazed by the word Sphidamnocarpus. I wonder what it means. I'm trying to look, actually. Sphidamnocarpus. Sphidamnocarpus pruriens, or the canary nettle. And as far as I can tell, there's really not a great deal interesting about it, other than the fact that it is a beautiful yellow colour, the colour of a traditional canary, hence canary nettle, and it's probably called a nettle because it's got hairs on it that will cause irritation of the skin. So if somebody is irritating you in the bush, for example, if BK was to start singing an irritating song, I could take a piece of Sphidamnocarpus pruriens and rub it on the back of his neck while he wasn't looking. And that would be a good revenge, as he began scratching frantically. That's just an example. BK doesn't sing irritatingly, and, well, also he's much bigger than me, and so were I to try and rub the hairs of Sphidamnocarpus pruriens on the back of his neck, I think it would be dangerous for me. Well, Enzo, that's a very good question. Why do plants have such hard names? Well, Enzo, all animals, in fact, all living things are classified, and I'll simplify it slightly for you, but all of them have got two names. And it's a bit like you've got a surname. I don't know what your surname is, Enzo, but instead of your surname coming after your first name, they put the surname first. But those names are normally made up of lots of different kinds of words, and they can be in Latin or Greek frequently. And because it's a combination of Latin and Greek, to us who speak English, it's a very difficult, or they can frequently be quite difficult to say or to spell. So it's a little bit like taking, I'm not sure, I'm assuming English is your home language, but let's pretend that, let's pretend you go to France and you're learning a little bit of French, and that's quite tricky anyway, but then they take two French words, chop them in half and combine them, and that's what they do with plants. Why did they do that? Well, normally the different parts of the plant's name have got meaning. We just don't know what it is because none of us, or very few of us, speak Latin or Greek. So I don't know what Sphidamnocarpus pruriens means, but it will mean something, and it doesn't mean canary nettle. Let me see if I can find it here for you. So a very nice question there from a young viewer, Enzo. Normally I can find out what these things mean, but in this particular case I don't seem to be able to. Well, Gwyn, do you want us to try driving, or shall we continue to bang away at Sphidamnocarpus pruriens? Try and think of something else to say about it. Oh, Jackson, how common is this plant? It's very common, actually. It's least concern, and in fact, what that means is that it's not endangered at all. And in fact, it is surprisingly common around here, especially given that most of the flowers are sort of starting to wilt. At the end of the growth season is upon us, but there are lots and lots of canary nettles around the place. So yeah, there are plenty of them. Plenty of Sphedamnocarpus prurienses. Can you say Sphedamnocarpus pruriens, BK? You can't.
Say that again?
Sphedamnocarpus pruriens. You got it in one. You got it in one. Gwen, who's directing this morning, says she can't do it. Sphedamnocarpus pruriens. Well, Lauren, as I said about mushrooms the other day, if you want to tell if it's edible to humans, you find someone you don't like, put it in their salad and see if they die. If they die, then it's not edible for humans, and if they don't, and if they get mildly sick, then it's semi-edible, and if they are fine, then it's fine. Obviously, that's a facetious answer. You wouldn't try and eat the leaves, I don't think. You might try and taste them, but apparently you can do a skin test. This is the only way I know of doing it. So if you took the fruit and you rubbed it on the inside of your bicep or on another sensitive piece of skin, and if there was no reaction to the skin, you could then have a very small bite and see if that caused a reaction. And that's one way of doing it.
Well, welcome back live, everybody. We found a heartbeat or two here in the bush. A couple of kudu. We've just been given a report from Peter from Nkoro that he's got tracks of a female leopard coming in on the eastern boundary. He reckons it might be the tracks of Kalamba. So, we're doing a detour to that general direction to give him a hand and go and look at all the little common places. And these kudu would be quite reliable when it comes to finding Kalamba if she was nearby. So sometimes it's nice to spend time with these general game animals. Just, first of all, they're very pretty. Second of all, their alarm calls are very reliable. Now the rain is raining. It's that really interesting sideways misty rain that cuts in right into the face. So we're going to try and not get too wet this morning. But it is what it is. Okay. Are you all ready to head towards the east? Let's do it. Ooh, sorry Gwen. Comms were very bad there. You might repeat that if you get a chance. Excuse me. Vinny, there are a few of them there. Kudu are never alone. You might find a male on his own sometimes, but generally the groups, you just have to spend enough time with them and more will start materializing out of the bush. But so no, not really safe to be on their own. Although they can go undetected because of their cryptic camouflage, they do blend in quite well. But kudu females and youngsters are generally associated with the herd. Susan, that's a good question. Are all males in the herbivore species kicked out? Now that's quite a broad concept, herbivores. A lot of herbivores, I suppose you're talking about antelope. Invariably, yes. Red hartebeest will keep their calves a bit ooh, those are lion tracks that came in from the south. Now I wonder, James is following up on a lioness. Oh, it's very muddy. James was following up on a lioness earlier. It's probably the same animal. Okay, well what are we going to do? Let's go check around Pangolin rather. And come down Chelapan. And then two birds with one stone, so to speak. Well, at least there was at least one male there. Oh, I'm sorry. There's holes in the road that I didn't see. I apologize for that. There's at least one male in those tracks there, and there was a lioness that we saw before. Just have a little look. They often walk along the road when it's this wet. I don't see anything. Now it's very wet, everybody, so the lens is going to get quite damp from time to time. Let me just have a look if they crossed over here. I don't think so, though. Hippos. Maybe we're hunting. Hyenas on the junction. They might have gone through the block there. Emma, it is difficult. First of all, the light is not great, so we don't get the same contrast that we would like to get. Okay, copy, thanks, Pete. So, first of all, the light is not great. Second of all, the road, or the tracks on the road can get... it's tracks of possibly Tlalamba, James, around Mamba. I'm going to be going into the area, see if I can figure it out. Ha! Two people talking at the same time. Okay, so there is buffalo track here. Buffalo's gone south. Maybe those lion tracks followed. We had two buffalo in the area yesterday. Okay, well, let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. Well, I would do that to Amakala and Eric.
We are here on some of our sandy tracks of dune forest, and we're looking for tracks for all sorts of animals, any animals really. Well, those are some kudu tracks that went in that direction, no, anything and everything. That was a giraffe track. Okay, so there's giraffe somewhere in this area, because that was fresh, definitely after the rain of yesterday. Let's see, maybe some more around here. I know the giraffe have been in the area, have been moving back and forth. We saw them not too far, that direction, towards the west, yesterday morning, and then they pulled a Houdini on us, because we saw them from up top, and when we went down we couldn't see them anymore. They'd obviously disappeared, and they obviously had their necks bent down behind something, but nonetheless, if their tracks are here and they do look fairly fresh-ish, we will be on the lookout for some giraffe. That'll be quite nice. Haven't seen giraffe in a while on screen. I didn't hear the question. what's similar? What could be similar? Okay, obviously, naturally, the giraffe's hooves are probably the biggest hooves that we have here. So their track is naturally very big. It's probably about that big. I think an eland would be very similar. No, eland's sort of shaped like a buffalo because it's a very kind of boxy but rectangular kind of track, as opposed to a round one like the buffalo's track and the eland's track. But no, I think the closest would probably be an eland, but then an eland's track is probably only a fifth. No, I lied. It's probably only a quarter or a third of the giraffe's track. And giraffe's track sometimes can extend more than 10 centimeters, which is pretty big, 10 to 15. You would not want to be kicked by a giraffe. That would hurt incredibly, and you definitely break bones, if not shatter bones. It won't be easy to recover from that one if the giraffe doesn't kill you, because it's possible that they actually kill lions with the kick. You know, they kick forward, they'll use their front legs to kick forward, and then obviously their back legs to kick backwards. I've seen an awful lot of videos and actually seen it in person before, where animals mostly lions are trying to snag the baby away from mom, and the baby will be standing right in front of mom's legs, almost right there, and mom will react to the predators obviously in the area and then try and swat at them. In swatting, ooh, there's a terrapin in the water. How many of you? There's only one of you. Stay that side, stay. Yay! Surf's up, dude. So quite often what will happen is she will end up kicking her baby, and her baby is now immobilized because she's been kicked by this very powerful kick that was not actually meant for the baby, was meant for a lion. And moms can actually kill their babies like that. You know, they've got the most powerful kick, but they don't have the direction and the control of it always. And, it can be quite fatal for mom, and very devastating it can be. That's always good, fresh elephant poo. And more of it. Did the elephants come down this road? When were they here? Okay, no, this was not yesterday, day before yesterday, I think. Because their tracks are here, but I don't know. They look a little bit old. No one's driven over them, so that obviously means no one's been down this road, but this is not necessarily a well-traveled road per se. Most of the main roads to get from the east to the west, or from the west to the south, is actually on the other side. We actually just came down those roads. This is more of a road that we use to, if there's a sighting on the open flats there somewhere, you want to avoid them, and then you normally come this way. Well, there's another one on the, adjacent to this road, slightly higher up. Mina in all my years of being a guide, I've only ever heard a giraffe vocalize once, and that was not a vocalization that you usually hear. It's more of a grumpy kind of, I'm chasing you away. Get away from my baby kind of, I'm angry now. You've taken my baby away from me, I'm chasing you. And that was the mother giraffe chasing after the lions after they had snagged her, I think it was a month to a month and a half old baby. Yeah, that is the only time that I've heard giraffes vocalizing. They do make other noises. They hum. There was a study. There was two. Well, this is two studies actually. One was more of a study. The other one was just not a coincidence, but it happened in the zoo, where obviously the zookeeper had brought his son to work, and they had obviously worked into the evening, or his dad was obviously working into the evening with still feeding animals and just making sure animals were doing what they're supposed to and being looked after the way that they were supposed to. I got awfully excited. I thought I saw lion tracks. False alarm. But this boy used to walk past the giraffe enclosure and would hear humming. And would hear all of this humming, and he didn't really know what to think of it, really. And this went on and on and on. Eventually he asked his dad, what is all the humming? Why do I hear humming when we go past these animals? And his dad was like, I don't hear any humming. What are you saying? And whenever they used to walk straight past the giraffe enclosures, they would hear this humming. Now obviously children can pick up on sounds that we as adults can't hear. And that was obviously one of the sounds that he heard, was the giraffes humming to each other. And they do. There was another study done in Kenya with giraffe, and they were obviously listening to this giraffe. They spent a long time listening to it. I think it was something like 3 years. And in that time that they were listening to this giraffe, in those 3 years, they picked up audio of them humming to each other. It sounds actually kind of like aggressive humming, the type of humming you would hear in a horror movie. Yeah, they don't do it very often, or at least the giraffe in the wild don't do it very often. I think it was like once in a blue moon that they would pick up this audio from the giraffe, and yeah, that was pretty. I thought it was pretty cool, actually, that the giraffes do hum to each other, but that's the only vocalization, and we won't be able to hear it at all.
Well, talking about giraffe, we found a nice big boy here at Baboon Pan on our southern boundary. Now, we weren't able to find any more lion tracks, and the tracks that I had were in very solid mud. So it makes me feel like they might have been from yesterday. No other visible tracks. That area having me quite busily driven yesterday because of the wild dogs being there, and I know there were reports yesterday morning of a male lion coming in and then possibly leaving. I'm figuring without any other visible tracks moving away from that place that it was from yesterday. We're going to check anyway around, just to loop here on the southern boundary, and that's a nice big male giraffe who he looks rather wet. But we're going to be moving towards the Mawati, scratching around Tlalamba's little favourite hidey holes. I think James is in the area as well. Both of us are very keen to find her for you. Norma, it's not necessarily just the Juma giraffe, it's a genetic variation that we find. and we generally find it in males, and generally big males. But it's not exclusive to Djuma. It's a across-the-country giraffe. But I haven't seen any really dark ones in Amakhala. Just the gene pool that they have there, I'm supposing. There was a big dark male giraffe in Pridelands called Tall, Dark and Handsome. Some Franklin going crazy over there. Giraffe not responding to it. Welcome back live, everybody. Just off of the Moati drainage on the Little Gowrie side of the road. They've gone quiet now. They've got spooked by something, flew away. Could be something walking up the river line. Just need to have a quick look at something. Sorry for the noises. So this evening, everybody, the 7th of April, Andre and James will be regrouping at a town hall and explaining what has developed over the last 2 weeks. I'll be charting a way forward, so please do have a look at that. It's going to be broadcast everywhere. Well, this rain is really settling in today. This is the kind of rain that the grasses specifically. And the frogs, of course. Always, Ruth, they don't do anything else than stare into the distance. Now, they're very curious. They're very curious animals, you see. He's ruminating. He's standing there on the spot, chewing the cud, chewing. And, well, we're a point of interest right now, so he's just watching us. A giraffe like to stare. Well, I'm blocking the road, so I need to move. Excuse me, everybody. We are on the southern boundary. Now, they walk around a lot and they feed, but when they've sated their bellies, they stand and stare. That's what they do. So they do a lot of standing and staring. Okay, well, we're going to be linking up with James at some point, working in the same area for possibly some signs of Columba, but he's in the area already. Let's go see if he's maybe picked up on a track.
Well, I can't find any tracks, so Steve, not very good, not very well. It's not going very good, Steve. But I do have information from the world's greatest virtual botanist, that is Judy H., who has come up with the etymology of the word sphedamnocarpus. And in fact, if young Enzo is still watching, it's exactly as I described it. And it comes from the Greek sphe, wasp, damnos, a curse, karpos, fruit. So a cursed wasp fruit. And it's because some species provide pollinators such as wasps with pollen or nectar for their young. So it's a combination of 3 Greek words. And they've probably been chopped up as well. Sorry. Damnos is a curse, as in damn it. So I'm possibly referring to being stung by a wasp or by the hairs. Now, we're not looking at a wasp now, or a sphedamnocarpus. We're currently looking at, you're looking at the yellow one, right? The purple one. No, the purple one is the devil's thorn, which we see quite frequently. And the other one is a hibiscus species. I think it's Hibiscus calphyllus. I may have that word slightly wrong because my small brain is unable to remember such things. Hibiscus calphyllus, yes. Hibiscus calphyllus. Beautiful yellow flower that grows in these clearings. Zoe, flowers do stick out quite nicely in the rain. I'm just going to turn this radio down. And we've come into the western sector here because there is word that a young male leopard called Nena has crossed into Djuma somewhere around here. As Steve has no doubt pointed out to you, it is exceptionally difficult to try and track in weather like this or in conditions like this, but we will do our best. We have thoroughly covered the northern section of the reserve, northwestern section, and come up with the bubkis. There were some impala, but they were in a place that we couldn't see them. At least we couldn't get signal. All right. So that's what's going on here. We've got one other flower. Would you like to just film me standing next to it, BK? A butylon is what this one is, a butylon. I don't know what a butylon means. And you're going to stay with me now because we're the only stable feed. And to describe Rusty as a stable feed right now is to give her a compliment she does not deserve. And we can't actually drive anywhere either, because then you'll just have a melting or black screen. So we can have another look at another plant, or a look at another plant. This is the silver cluster leaf, and we've talked about it ad nauseum over the years, but it's really nice to see how the silver hairs on this leaf have captured the moisture. I wonder what, I'm assuming the hairs on the leaf are there to prevent it being devoured. And maybe the fact that they catch the water is just a byproduct of the fact that they have hairs. But I wonder if there isn't some kind of benefit to this plant being able to capture the water. Jasmine, they are silver, actually. It's when you look at them from far. So, BK, if you just sort of do a wide shot on the silver cluster leaf there, they're not silver. They're a silverish, they're a green, obviously, with a silverish sheen. And if you take these hairs off, they are indeed silver. So that's quite, I mean, it's relatively interesting. The other reason that a lot of plants have hairs on them is to sort of stop moisture loss. But this is not a particularly desiccated area, so I'm not sure that's why silver cluster leaf has hairs, but it might. And finally, the last plant that we shall do in this particular segment is the plant that never stops giving, Wolferia indica. And it's got really very nondescript flowers. Do you like what I'm doing with this BK?
Looks good.
Yeah. All right, you can zoom out again. Right, let me see what else I can find for you here. Maybe a leopard will just pop out in front of us. That'll be exciting. Lauren, you want to know which flowers have the best scent in the bush. The best scent belongs to the two flowers for me. The first one is the gardenia, the Transvaal gardenia, which smells like a sort of sweet honey. And then the other one for me is the num num, or Carissa by Spinoza, and that's also got a lovely smell. Here is yet another flower. This is a very flower-rich area. A veritable garden, actually. This is Solanum. I'm going to do my trick again, BK. The spinny trick. Part of the deadly nightshade family, so related to potatoes and tomatoes. And it does make a fairly unpleasant and possibly mildly toxic little yellow fruit called the poison apple. Doesn't look anything like an apple. It's not related to apples. Catherine, you say beautiful flower? Yes, it is a beautiful flower. It's subtle colours, not exactly garish. Mauve. Mauve is a very subtle colour with a bit of yellow in the middle. Okay, I am now going to remove it. Now we're struggling with Wendy's signal, and Amakala has a problem with the camera. I'm really running out of stuff here. Right, welcome back to those of you who've just joined us. We're going to try and do a little driving segment, and let's see what happens. For those of you who've just joined us, the inclement weather is causing some issues with our ability to deliver a signal while driving. We'll drive very slowly. At least then we have some forward momentum as we go on the hunt for Nena, the young male leopard, son of Shidulu. Wouldn't it be nice to just find him strolling along the road or up in a tree with his breakfast? Dali, could a lone leopard take down a giraffe? Could a lone male leopard take down an adult giraffe? I've heard. I think it's very unlikely. If a leopard managed to spook a giraffe to the extent that the giraffe fell over, and then the leopard managed to get the giraffe round the throat, and suffocate it, then yes, it is possible. Once a giraffe is down on the ground, it's very difficult for the giraffe to get back up, and it's also quite easy to keep them down by getting onto their heads. I mean, you know, if you happen to be incredibly fast and very strong. But giraffe can do tremendous damage even when they're down, because they lift their heads up, especially if they're panicked. And I've seen it. It's a horrible thing to watch. I've seen a giraffe that's slipped on a rocky crossing in a river. I tried to help this thing up, and it eventually just died because we could not get it up. Every time we got anywhere near it, it would lift its head and then sort of flail with the head to try and defend itself, and then end up slamming its head into the ground. So it can be very dangerous to be around, and then also very dangerous for the giraffe. So, I mean, I suppose in theory there are situations in which a leopard might be able to kill a giraffe, but those would be very few and far between and very unusual. There are a lot of canary nettles around. Sphedamnocarpus. Dam wasp fruit. The dam wasp fruit. Fascinating. But I think Enzo's question is a very valid one from earlier. And it's Enzo's question about why they have to make it so complicated. I mean, why would you call a genus dam wasp fruit in Greek and combine 3 words? Alison, you're wondering which leopard's territory we're in now? Well, we're in the male leopard's territory. This is tortoise Pan's domain. My word on the blower is that tortoise Pan is probably further off towards the west. They're looking for him down on the southern boundary of his territory. And we're in the female territory of Shidulu, whose name means termite mound. Oh, exciting. Right, the Vov has managed to find some signal. I don't know if he's managed to find an animal. Let's go and find out.
Thanks, James. Well, you got over to the west pretty quickly. Basically, we've finally made it in towards the area of Columba, and just want to point out all of these puddles and pans across the landscape are all almost fully charged now. So it's going to be tricky tracking down animals in the next couple weeks, as if they've got food in the block, there's no need for them to travel the distance to the water points, because there's water in abundance. So we're on a road called Mamba Loop, which is going to link us back onto Mamba, and tracks apparently of Columba came into this general area. So we're going to have a little scratch around, see if maybe we can be lucky. No promises. We'll just do what we can. No, Luke, no one's going to be going thirsty. Plants and trees are going to be soaking up the rain. Just when the bush starts to open up a little, we get all of this rain, and it's going to have another bloom of leaves, green grass growth. Influx again of some insects. Well, everybody, water is, after all, a currency of life.
Water is a fundamental resource for all creatures. In the wild, water sources are the sites for an array of activities. In the southern parts of Africa, the dense thickets and lush greenery dwindle and crisp up with the winter season. Making watering holes a gathering spot for grazers and a potential hunting spot for predators. But the giants of the lowveld never disappoint when visiting their local watering hole. Elephant trunks are generally amusing appendages, but are particularly entertaining when used to quench their thirst or cool themselves down. In East Africa, the Mara River is infamous for the treacherous task it presents to the migration herds. However, it is also home to a variety of winged, scaled, and wadding animals. It serves a necessary purpose, but also allows for moments of sheer joy and fun.
Well, everybody, water is the currency of life, and that's where we find our animals, and they are points of interest in the winter months. But now, with the abundance of rain, it's going to take some time for the water points to become more concentrated again. And I just spotted what looks like a small bird of prey. Cannot tell you what it is in this light. Not the best view, but it's a saturated bird, busy preening, cleaning, trying to dry the feathers. Peter, most animals struggle in the rain. Most of our herbivore animals, their hooves, they slip and slide. They don't get much purchase on the ground. Birds don't do very well in the rain. They want to stay dry. Predators somehow do a little bit better because their ability to splay their feet and their toes and gain a little bit more purchase, a little bit more successful in hunting. Elephants seem to love it. Rhino, I reckon, love it as well. Hippos, well, hippos are in the river or the dam. They quite like the water. Animals get wet. And if you get rain late in the season, it can lead to cold temperatures. It can lead to animals getting sick. Okay, well, I'm not able to identify that bird from here. Not great lighting. As I said earlier in the drive, not a great morning for birding. I'm going to carry on along this path and see if we have any luck with the queen. Yes, Dan, we would like some spots. Or an elephant. Elephant would be nice. Love Ellies in the rain. We had some hippo tracks and some rhino tracks. We're going to show you where they were sleeping in the river, but we weren't able to get good signal there. There's been a bit of elephant activity around, but I haven't found anything yet.
We've found ourselves here at a waterhole, and there's nobody here. So we are going to stake out this waterhole for a little bit and see if anybody comes down to have a drink of water. Now some marsh terrapins in here. I just saw one, but only briefly. Came up and then went down immediately, just for a little breath of air. So the wind really is blowing today. You know, generally you can find that this area is very kind of sheltered from the wind, but the wind that we have today is no. Well, also from the direction that it's coming from, it's also coming from not a very a dense thicket area side of this pan. It's coming from the side of the pan that's kind of a little bit open. That could well be why it is so windy in here. Now, obviously, this is a place where animals will come and mud wallow. It's starting to become more mud wallow pan than drinking pan. I mean, the water is still there, but yeah, if the sun comes out and bakes for another, let's say, 3 or 4 days of heat, we may find that this water is going to start disappearing very quickly. You can see there's little bits of mud and bits of tree stump and branch kind of sticking out. Serves as very good perch spots for birds wanting to drink water safely without being approached by animals on the side of the pan. It is usually at waterholes like this that you'll find like jackals and other predators, mostly jackals and like lions and sometimes leopards, staking out the waterhole for prey. Jackals will do it when they are looking for birds. You know, they'll find a little part of the mud wallow or a mud wallow hole where they will lie flat as possible and wait for birds to fly down and land on the water's edge, at which point they spring themselves up to grab the bird, even sometimes before they've landed or after they've landed. And that's sometimes how they gain a food source. Lions and leopards can lie on the dam wall of the pan, or even, you can see all the bushes around here. There's plenty of place to hide underneath the bush there, where you can wait for an animal to come waltzing down for a drink of water, unknowingly, knowing that you are there, waiting for them. We've sat here on a very, very hot day and waited for all sorts of animals to come down. And it was mostly warthogs, actually. We had warthogs come down, and then eventually we had, I think it was a pair of jackals come to the waterhole. But we've had an awful lot of different animals at this waterhole. We've had lions at this waterhole. We've had the elephants at this waterhole, I think multiple times. And then, obviously, jackals, warthogs. I haven't had the buffalo here yet. And the three amigos. The three amigos don't really tend to go past waterholes very, very often. In fact, you don't really see the three amigos in dense thicket areas, and that's characteristics of cheetah. Cheetah don't want to necessarily be in the thicket areas, because there they can't see the predators coming. They tend to stick to the open, kind of vastly spread out areas where they can see a threat coming if the threat is there. Well, the threat has very little place to hide. I've just had a question from Nina. Are birds very water dependent animals? I wouldn't say they're very, very water dependent. Obviously some birds will need more water than others. Obviously seabirds, you'll find they can possibly be water dependent, but a lot of the time, sometimes birds that eat fruit, they won't be water dependent as much as others, because they'll get a lot of the juices and a lot of the water and the moisture that they need from the food that they eat. It's the same way with antelopes and other animals. They will always find a way to get a water source indirectly without having to go to a pan or pond or dam. Oh, the wind is blowing a gale. Veronica, it's a very, very good question. I think the inner compass of a bird, obviously they know their environment inside and out in order to live in it, especially to have the way that they have nests all over the place, and they're able to find their nests, but able to travel like vast distances to get food and then travel back. I think the inner compass works incredibly well, so they know which is north, which is west, which is south. But I think it's also their senses. Their senses are probably, I I don't know, they're 5 times stronger than ours. So they can sort of sense different pressures in different areas and different climates in different parts of the world. So they know which way is north, and they know that north is the way that they have to travel to get to the European countries. I don't think they struggle to figure out which direction they're going, and I think they know more or less which direction they're going in at all times. But sometimes in storms it is a little bit difficult, especially if you cannot see the floor. You know, sometimes you will find seabirds in places where they're not supposed to be, like albatrosses along the coastline, because the storm has blown them from deep sea onto the shore. But speaking of birds, we're now going to take a look at a clip where Cedric had some birds.
Well, what a way to start our sunset safari on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. As you can see, we've got a lovely grey heron that is just resting next to the dam, and I'm hoping for maybe a fish or two to come swimming by, but I love their patience, and well, I'm hoping that we're going to have enough patience as well this afternoon to see if we can pick up on some lion activity. Well, good afternoon everybody, my name is Cedric, and behind the camera with me on Rusty we've got BK. So yep, great afternoon, and well, as I said, we are here on the northeastern corner of Djuma, and at a beautiful dam called Buffelshoek Dam, and we've got some nice hippopotamus, 2 of them that's just busy swimming around here. It's actually amazing that slowly but surely they're getting to some of these spots where it's quite shallow. You can actually see where the hippos are pretty much coming out. I wonder if we can find that crocodilia. I think I see something floating there at the edge there. I just want to double check. No, that looks like a stick.
We're still sitting here at our little waterhole, our waterhole stakeout. So far we haven't had any animals. What little bird is that? There's a little bird calling, and I'm trying to figure out its call. Definitely a little brown job. And of course, as I'm talking about the bird, he stops calling. Very typical of birds. When you're trying to identify them or trying to point them out to anybody, as soon as you point it out, chop, they keep still. Keep very nice and quiet. And make you look like a crazy person saying you've heard or seen a bird.
We have an exciting announcement. Wild Earth is launching a YouTube membership program. For a nominal monthly fee, members get an ad-free channel, prioritized questions, early access to videos, and many more perks. You'll get fun features like badges and emojis that'll make you stand out in the chat. YouTube memberships will help us to continue with our mission of connecting people with nature while giving you access to lots of our amazing content.
So no, we haven't had an animal come down, which is rather interesting. But we will be patient. All right, everybody, today is the day. We'd like to thank everybody for helping us. Firstly, we've been going on a donation drive and going to try. We'll try build a wall, test. I don't know what's going. Sorry. So Sunday. Today is the day. The 7th of April, and on this day, the town hall will regroup, explain developments over the last 2 weeks, and chat about the way forward. And we would like to keep asking you to sign the petition.
Well, welcome back to the east, everybody. Lots of hyena tracks. I haven't managed to find a Tlalamba track. I'm checking a couple of the little spots. I think she might hang out, but no luck. Not over yet. We will continue. At least it's not too cold when it's wet like this. That's just uncomfortable. Good coffee, good company.
Soggy bottom.
And Gert's got a soggy bottom. He needs to invest in a pair of pants like I have, because that's the reason I bought them, was to eliminate the soggy bottom that comes with being out here. Anyone else out there try to eliminate soggy bottom, or maybe enjoy soggy bottom? I think I posed a question yesterday. I didn't get any answers. I suppose it's a no-brainer. Who likes a soggy bottom? I certainly don't. You guys are looking very vigilant. There's two of them. These guys have definitely got soggy bottoms. They've been out in it all night. They've not been able to escape the rain. There was one off to the left, I thought. Yvette, they are incredible animals, and the males definitely getting to this time of year start building up serious condition, and that neck starts to build up huge amounts of muscle. Now that stomping and that moving that he does, that's often in the pitch dark when it's been raining. That's often what our leopards use on the impala. They can't help themselves. They step their foot up and they kick it down to eliminate the mud that's getting caught in between the hooves. That's a beacon to hone in on. What do you see? He's very alert. A little bit cold, his whole body's shaking. Gary, I mean, eyesight, hearing, and smell, I'd say they'd be all quite equal. I couldn't tell you exactly if they are equal. They're very vigilant. They've got a very keen sense of smell. And the way they use their ears in conjunction with their eyesight, they spot things that you wouldn't even imagine. Gert, can you see that over there? Hello? Something else with some ears. I just saw something flick. And, well, hello. We got a rhino coming out of the bushes there, I think. Nice. So it happens when you stay in one spot for a little while. I mean, if you think about the impala's ears, they're equal in size to a rhino's ears. Possibly. Their eyesight, they've got bigger eyes than rhinos. Rhinos aren't known for good eyesight, although they do detect shapes and movement. But then again, there's not many things out there trying to eat a rhino. And when we see a rhino, we notice how big their nostrils are. So we definitely know that their sense of smell is very, very acute. Impalas use their sense of smell mainly for detecting danger. The Afrikaans name, rooibok. You'll see how he matches with this red grass over here. Rooi is a red, and bok is a buck, essentially. Although not many South Africans call them buck. Call them antelope or bokkies. Quite a bit of a cross-language thing there. The Springboks, everybody knows the Springboks, our rugby team. No one calls them the Springbucks. Do they, Gert? No. Quentin, who's got the best camouflage? Well, that animal right there, can you see it on the right of frame, hidden in the grass? That one. I'm joking. Insects generally have the most incredible camouflage. Stick insects are so camouflaged you think they're a stick. There's such a variety of insects that have managed to cryptically disappear into their environment, from moths through to caterpillars, through to beetles and the like. But then when we're looking at birds, our sand grouse, very camouflaged. So is the chicks and the eggs. Many of the spur fowl are quite well camouflaged. And our antelope species, you know, the kudu blends in with its environment, so does the bushbuck and the nyala. They might not seem much like it to you, but the way that their coat is designed, the stripes, the mane or fur on the back of the neck, spots in specific places, are very well adapted to blend them in to this. If you look at the impala, you can kind of see his body through the bush because he's got a three-dimensional body shape to him. But the kudu, nyala, bushbuck are designed to disappear in that sort of vegetation by having spots or lines placed in very specific places to sort of break up the outline of the body shape. And then our predators, you know, you look at leopard cubs, cheetah, lion, they're all very well camouflaged. Serval. With the spotted kinds, we call it disruptive camouflage. It's aimed to blend in with the background. Obviously, it's very habitat specific. That's why lions have evolved to be in more grassland areas and use grass for cover, whereas leopards are in the dappled, shaded, semi-wooded, wooded woodlands, where their camouflage enables them to disappear in the smallest of cover. Some of the oldest forms of predator defense, camouflage and the ability to stand very still, saves a lot of energy.
on safari. You can also hear a woodpecker going ka-tick-tick, ka-tick-tick. Ka-tick-tick. Probably a little cardinal woodpecker. The tapping is very gentle. I can also hear the call of the ghost bird, or the spookvoël, or the grey-headed bushshrike. Dark Man Lover, you reckon that impalas are very beautiful? Yes, they are. You know what? That's not a woodpecker. That's the beak snapping of the grey-headed bushshrike. Click, click, click. I'm not sure I've ever heard it quite so enthusiastic. But we can't find him. Right, welcome back to those of you who've just rejoined us. We're currently trying to find a grey-headed bushshrike. There he is. I found him. Can you see the right-hand side of the marula tree there, BK? He's just in the top there. He's very upset about something. You can just see him moving around. There. So now sort of top third. If I had a monitor, there are two of them. They're chasing each other. Can you see the movement? There goes one. There they go. I think they'll land in there. Oh, very upset with each other. Angry grey-headed bushshrikes. Beautiful colours. Let's go and have a quick look and see if we can see them before we continue our quest for this young male leopard who has been wandering about here in the night. Now they have ceased. They have ceased their battle to the death. Now remember, this evening at 7 o'clock, 1900 hours Central African time, we will be having a town hall where Andre and I will be talking about Wild Earth's future, some interesting new offerings, the results of the fundraise that we've done over the last 2 weeks, and we'll talk about multi-choice. For those of you who are watching on DSTV, the chances are very high that we will come off that platform at the end of the month. Unfortunately, MultiChoice does not agree that they should have to pay for this content. As I said in an article I wrote earlier, or last week, I said it's a little bit like going to a concert and expecting the band to pay you to be there. That's the situation we find ourselves in. Doesn't make any sense to me. Can't claim to be a businessman, but it still doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, that's what the conflict's about. And MultiChoice doesn't seem to see it that way, unfortunately. And so we'll tell you about that. If you do want us to stay on MultiChoice, the best thing you can do is to sign the petition, which we will tweet now. You will tweet the link to the petition. Please don't donate to the petition. You can donate to Wild Earth if you would like to. wildearth.tv/donate, but the petition needs to be signed. More than 12,000 people have tried to express to MultiChoice that they should be helping us out, and unfortunately it appears to have fallen upon entirely deaf ears. We invited them to the town hall to come and explain their position. They have declined the invitation. Oh well. Anyway, if we do come off DSTV, we will explain to you where you can watch us. We'll probably try and direct you to YouTube and an exciting new offering we have there. And in actual fact, the viewing experience on YouTube is very easy on new smart TVs. Just as easy as changing the channel on your decoder. So that's the town hall at 7 o'clock tonight. And please, if you haven't signed the petition and you would like to, it's not too late. It would be great if you would do that. Well, the rain has started. This fills BK and I with a great sense of joy and well-being. And so, on this joyful and well-beingness note, we'll go back across to Eric and we'll continue looking for this young male leopard. Mm-hmm.
We are here sitting with what is this tree? There's no branches on this tree. I think it's a wild olive. The reason why I say that is because there's a wild olive next to it, and the bark does look the same. No, I lie, that's not a wild olive. It could well have been a guari. It doesn't matter now. What we have here is a cracked bracket fungus. Now, this is a fungus that we had on screen about 8 weeks ago. And it was something that I actually had no idea was. And it is still here, thriving. It hasn't grown any bigger, to my knowledge. It still looks pretty much the same. And as you can see, nothing has been feeding on it. They generally get pretty big. And you'll see them all over. You'll see them on tree stumps, dead tree stumps. You'll see, well, this is a dead tree stump. You'll see them on live tree stumps. They sort of feed a little bit off the tree itself. And obviously last very, very long. Like I said, this was 8 weeks ago that we were here filming this specific mushroom. It will basically just be spores that have come from another fungus. You know, we find a lot of... Excuse me. Should turn the radio off. We find a lot of mushrooms around after thunderstorms, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's got to do with all the amount of electricity and the pores and the pressure. It's just perfect condition for mushrooms to grow. And I think it's the same with mushrooms. Oh my goodness, the wind. With mushrooms growing on the trees. I'm not too sure how long this particular mushroom or fungus has been growing on this tree, but it definitely looks like it's been there a while. But yeah, I think it's got to do with the elements that really actually get mushrooms to start growing on trees. But I suppose it's also got to be the tree itself. And where would the spores of this fungus have come from? That's my question. Because it's not very low on the tree. It's probably about 2 meters above it. Maybe more than that. Maybe 2 and a bit meters above the floor. So it's well up in the tree, and there aren't any others. The only other explanation that I can think of is possibly a bird might have consumed part of the mushroom with some spores on it, and defecated somewhere on this tree, and obviously with it being a bit of waste and bird poo obviously being similar to manure, it's possible that the fungus could have started growing in amongst the bird poo on the tree here. Crazy in the wind that we are experiencing today, it's definitely holding on for dear life, because we are holding on to the car for dear life to avoid being blown away. We thought we'd be sheltered in this little corner. We thought wrong. But
in two magical African wilderness areas, the Masai Mara in Kenya, the Great Kruger National Park in South Africa, 5 expert safari guides follow a cast of compelling animal characters and the never-ending stories that define their lives.
The Cat Report documents real stories of real predators, as witnessed and captured by a band of obsessive wildlife filmmakers.
No. Mother Nature is not happy with us at all today. Well, she hasn't been very happy with us over the course of the few days. Very, very unhappy. But in the meantime, we're going to sit here. And in the meantime, we're going to send you back over to James, who's doing some birding.
Well, a spectacular sighting here of a dove. Cape turtle dove. Ring-necked dove. We actually had a lovely sighting of it in a tree right next to us. But it inevitably got a fright and decided that it couldn't possibly tolerate being in such close proximity to us. And so it panicked, and now it's lost its panic, but it's enjoying a sort of forage. Enjoying? Probably not on a day like today. In the background you can hear the mournful call of Shivambalana, the emerald spotted wood dove. Shirila Shivambala. Like an emerald spotted wood dove. Well, if you've just rejoined us, I'm so sorry that you have missed out on a sighting of a Cape turtle dove. Now 1 pixel on the road. We're going to continue our slow drive around this block where we had the tracks of the young male leopard, we think, possibly Nena, son of Shidulu, daughter of Nangapan, I think that was her name. I don't know who Nangapan's mother was. The leopard lineages in this area are so well known by some people that you could probably recite them like those. I remember having to read lengthy sections of, I think it's the Book of Kings in the Old Testament, that has names of people and their lineages. Son of whoever, son of whoever, son of whoever, etc. All the way back to Abraham. I don't think we can trace the leopard lineages back to Abraham, but you get my drift. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so we had the tracks coming in off the sort of western boundary there, and they came down here. They looked to be on top of the rain to me, so I think they're pretty fresh. And then they turned off down this road, and then they disappeared. So I wonder if he hasn't either decided to stalk something, or if perhaps we didn't get quite close to him and he was just having a sleep. Tyrone, he'll be in that sort of that phase of half being dependent. He's definitely not dependent on his mother. Were his mother to die, he would be fine. He would be okay. He'd survive. But will they meet up every so often, and will she help him out with a meal every so often? Yes, probably. Can you see that track there, BK? So I'll just show you quickly the track. Now, it's not tiny anymore. I must confess, when somebody said to me it's a young male leopard, the only reason that I'm agreeing that it is a young male leopard is that this is soft sand, and that means that the track will splay. But I got to tell you, I wouldn't be a hell of a surprise to find an adult at the end of this track. I don't know how big Nena is right now, but I would have said that was quite a large foot for him. The one in front is slightly smaller, so I think it's probably because it's splayed out. Ooh. Maybe he's just got big feet. Yes, Sarah, it's a beautifully defined track in the sand there. Now the tracks carry on to just around this bend, and then they just up here. So we're just doing another loop through here to see if perhaps he isn't lurking under a bush close to the road, trying to take cover from the rain. Yes, perhaps you could confuse a young male's tracks with a female's tracks if he was younger than he is now. So when he's about a year old, his tracks will be roughly the same size as his mother's. But he's older than that now. And to drive very, very slowly through here. I bet he's just off the road, under a bush, seeking shelter. Oh, he's miles away. Right, so he's no longer on the road here, so I'm going to hand you back over to the wharf while I have a look for what's going on. What's that?
Little listen. Please do have a look. Let us know. Yeah, I had a look at some tracks there as well that looked like they were rained on, maybe from yesterday, but I followed some in towards Twin Dams. We had some tracks around Elephant Carcass, but yeah, no joy, eh? Getting updates about some Lioness tracks. We were just there. Copy Dilda, they look like they're on top of vehicle tracks or underneath. Okay, copied. Not sure. So there are tracks around, everybody, of some lionesses and some lions, and we had to track as we came out of camp this morning of a lion. James was following west. Tracks coming in from the south. Well, we're not sure how fresh they were. They looked like they'd been rained on, and then tracks just around the corner that also looked like they might have been from yesterday in the mud. It's difficult. It's not easy conditions to be tracking in, but we are doing our best to see if we can find. Just been humming along to some blues songs. It's interesting how blues, although blues sounds quite moody, has got such a way of cheering me up. I love the song by Eric Clapton, Layla. I don't know if any of you know it. It's one of those songs that I reckon when I can perfectly play it on the guitar, I'll then tell myself, you can play the guitar. But until that day, I'll still be a novice. Can you play it, Gert?
No, but I've got an instruction video.
Instruction video. I've had the chords and the tabs for years, and I play pieces of it. I play most of it, but I've never been able to go from start to finish and then sing it. So when that day happens, yeah, I'll do a video. maybe. So yeah, feeling a lot of blues music this morning in these gloomy sort of times, gloomy morning. What kind of blues music do you like, everybody? What kind of blues music do you think a hippopotamus is listening to in his little earphones? He's got little ear pods, you see, because he'd look quite funny with big ear, with those Bluetooth earphones, right? So he's got little ear pods inside there, and he's listening to, what do you reckon? Maybe some jazz. Probably listening to some jazz, soft jazz, like Coltrane sort of stuff. I reckon. Let's ask him. What are you listening to, dude?
Oh, hip hop.
Oh, not sure. Eh? Hippo, listen to hip hop.
Hip hop, bottom.
Hippopotamus, that's right. Nice one, Gert. That was a good one. Well, we had a hippo there, everybody. You can kind of see the bubbles and the wake. But he's decided that his jazz music is better heard underwater. And maybe they're really into more underground kind of music. Yeah, well, we thought at least the hippo would be a winner to frame up, but yeah, well, it's that kind of morning. That kind of morning. Oh, Anna-Marie. Yeah, you've seen Clapton sing it in person, Anna-Marie. I'm so jealous. He is a wizard. He is an absolute wizard on the guitar. Just love Eric Clapton. So watch this space. When I go and leave, I'm going to be delving into that space. I feel like it's a commitment I'm making to myself again now. Again, more time with the music. More time with the music. Oh. Judy H., you reckon James Hendry does a better version of Layla than actually Eric Clapton? Well, James is a wizard on the guitar. I haven't heard him play this time around. I don't know if he brought the guitar, but it used to be amazed me. I'd come back from drive in the evening and we would just hear this guitar going crazy, like beautifully. And you're going to have a little peek and there's James. He's just put on a YouTube video for whatever artist band you could think of, and there he's just playing lead over them. Unreal. Unreal skill. James, I tip my hat to you, sir. I can't even say it, Trish. I can't even say it, but maybe the directors will drop it on the on the screen. Trish's comment, feel free to drop it there, Gwen, if you want to. But I can't say it. It'll make me laugh too much. Okay, so everybody, let's continue on. We're doing loops and loops. It's one of those mornings. Feels like the rain is lifting, not getting as many droplets on my wind visor, aka my protective glasses. Been lots of this since yesterday. Lots of broken trees. This is probably the 5th or 6th decent sized tree that I've seen that has broken. Nicole, they are playing hide and seek. They're playing We've Got Food, Come and Find Us. That's what they're playing. So we often talk about elephants and the damage they cause. This is all wind. It's all wind generated. Massive big marula branch fallen off. I don't know if I'm going to climb it in the wet. No, we're not going to do that. Oh, but there is damage already to the branch that was caused by, I'm not sure, quite high up. But the bark has been exposed. Insect damage. Wood borer beetles have been inside. There's actually rotten wood there. There's the flesh, the solid, clean, healthy wood, and there's the rotten wood there. And so it would just take quite a big windy event, maybe a lot of rain, maybe the leaves got very heavy at the same time as a bit of wind, and down she blows. I'm going to put that back. Did you hear that, everybody? It falling. That's always the question, isn't it? If a tree fell in the forest, and no one was around to hear it, did it make a noise? That age-old saying. Of course it made a noise. I think that's the arrogance of the human mind, is to say, well, if I didn't hear it, it didn't happen. Birds, lots of birds taking flight. They're hungry. They've been sitting sheltered for some time. Another one over there, knobthorn. A lot of trees got damaged last night. Or it might have been the day before.
We have an exciting announcement. Wild Earth is launching a YouTube membership program. For a nominal monthly fee, members get an ad-free channel, prioritized questions, early access to videos, and many more perks. You'll get fun features like badges and emojis that'll make you stand out in the chat. YouTube memberships will help us to continue with our mission of connecting people with nature while giving you access to lots of our amazing content.
There's another flower, BK. Can you see it? Is it behind the pole? Oh my goodness. Now this looks like one of those anthericum flowers. Unfortunately, or interestingly, there are lots of different kinds of white flower like this that look almost identical. Anyway, it's nice to see a last flower. Those tracks have headed off somewhere, I think towards the south, but they're into a big block, and yeah, we can't just follow them in there because, well, it's wet and impossible. So I think we're going to just start circling a little bit more widely than we have been and see what else there is. Okay, BK, that's quite a lot of flower species we've done today. Not bad return for this late in the season. The weather is lifting, which I think is nice. I will tell you that everybody on the radio has been having a rough time from around the place. Very little by way of large animal sighting. So we'll pop down towards the waterhole here called Treehouse Dam, simply because it's a place to visit. Yes, I agree, Judy H. It's a lovely flower morning, almost as many as we've seen during the summer. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of what is noticeably absent. I think the orange ones, the lion's eye and the roadside pimpernel, are conspicuous by their absence. Some of the really sort of small, indistinct blue ones, but there are lots of them still around. Maybe not quite in the same profusion, but certainly more than I thought they were going to be. Right, so let us pop past Treehouse Dam and see what's there. You go.
How many east-west stations are on
Just listening to the radio briefly. Oh. Somebody is following lion tracks, I think. Sorry, I'm just going to get on the blower. I don't know if he's actually found something or if he's following tracks. Station crossing onto Djuma. What's your position there?
Thanks very much. Whereabouts in Triple M? I'm not sure of that junction.
The radio's definitely not working very well.
Well, get it. Thank you. James, did you copy that?
Steve, I'm copying every few words. What's happening there? Somebody's followed an animal onto Djuma.
Djuma on Triple M. I'm not sure exactly whereabouts on Triple M. But he's gone in off road there.
Yeah, I didn't copy the animal. Can you give that to me again? No. The radio is not working. Gwinyai, please get hold of Stivovor and ask him while we look at those arrow-marked babblers. Oh, that's nice. Well spotted, BK. Arrow-marked babblers. Right, the Talamati Pride is what he's following. Copy, I got that. Are there tracks or animals you've got?
It's animals.
Okay, copy that. Yeah, I'm quite close to that area. I'll pop up that way. I think let's go and take a look, everyone. We're not far from there. It sounds like the Talamati Pride. So let's carry on. Let's get some lions, hopefully, under the belt before the end of the drive. I'm going to drive quite quickly. Our impala herd is still in the same place that it was earlier. stick with us and hope that our signal holds here. And then I'll get hold of this guy when I'm closer. So they've just come across, for those of you wondering what I'm talking about, these lions have come across from the western side where we can't go. They've crossed the eastern boundary, or our western boundary, their eastern boundary, and they're now on Juma being followed. And we just need to try and get there fast enough to be able to see them before the end of the drive and before this chap loses them, because that whole region is very thick. Alright, let's go back to Amakhala, figure out what's happening there, and we'll see if we can find these lions quickly.
What we have here is some old man's beard. It's also it's a fungus. It's very similar to a fungus, whereas funguses grow on top of other organisms, mostly plants. Well, we hope mostly just plants. It'd be really strange if you had a fungus growing on your body. But this is more of like a land algae. It's called lichen. And lichen is a mixture of algae and fungus. So it is, yeah, it pretty much is a fungus. But old man's beard grows all over the place. Only in places, though, where the oxygen level is higher, much higher than any pollution levels and any carbon dioxide levels. So this means that the air that we are breathing now at the moment is incredibly clean. Otherwise, old man's beard would cease to exist in this area if it was too polluted. So the closer we get to Grahamstown, the less old man's beard you'll see. And the closer we get to PE or Port Elizabeth, the less old man's beard we are going to see. And that's because we are moving into a more populated area where there is pollution. It generally grows provided that it has healthy air throughout the year. The whole year, it'll generally grow about 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters a year. Terry, definitely not, unfortunately. It will struggle quite a bit to grow in Johannesburg. Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, East London, Durban, Bloemfontein, all those big towns, big cities, it will struggle. You won't really find it out here. Now, it has many uses. A lot of people use it to start fires out in the bush, as it burns quite quickly and is very easy, sets alight quite easily. Birds will use it for the inner lining of their nests before they put feathers down, just to make it extra soft, like you're sitting on a fluffy pillow. Because obviously nests, you want them to be as soft as possible and as warm as possible for the babies. And old man's beard is just the thing. It will definitely help keep a lot of the heat in, and keep a lot of the cold out.
on safari.
Rather interesting. Most of the time, I actually say, because it takes so long to grow, to get to a decent length, I normally say rather leave the old man's beard and use something else for toilet paper. Oh, Larimore, yes, it does look like cotton hanging from the tree there, like somebody's clothing has been ripped to shreds and is now just kind of like hanging in bits and pieces. I've always said it looks a little bit like Dumbledore's beard being cut and shaved off and hung up to dry, in a sense. It was a very, very pretty bird calling now. Come back. You had such a beautiful call. I hope it comes back. I'm sure it will.
Welcome back live, everybody. Buffalo came through here, really big buffalo. He had a poo that's been completely processed and dug in by dung beetles. Amazing how quickly that can happen. Already this late in the season, you think all the dung beetles are gone. So we went back again to the sites of those tracks from the south, and it just seems that everybody who drives past the same area is giving us the same information on tracks that are not fresh. They are from yesterday already. But, you know, you get your hopes up. You think, oh, yay, let's follow them. And no, they are not fresh. So now we know. We've only checked it 3 times. Oh, Ellie therapy, Kelly, would be nice. Some nice Ellie therapy. The bush is going to transform after all of this rain. Trace, it's not that they're scarce, it's just they're hard to find. You know, they don't have to go to the big water sources. There's water everywhere. And yeah, I mean, we've seen a hippo and we've seen a rhino already. The rhino just materialized. So they are around. It's just a matter of finding them. Many of our antelope species are either sheltering around in the thickets or standing out in the open area. And well, it sounds like James has caught up with some animals. I wonder what exactly they're doing.
Right, well, we have got these lions. Whether they are the telemates or not, I'm not sure. It's 3 lionesses. Seems rather similar sort of setup to what we had yesterday evening. This cat is rather enthralled by the roof on this car, which I'm not going to lie is slightly disturbing. She's done that to us twice now. She's come towards the car, and I think it's because of the roof. So those of you who are more skilled at identifying animals are going to have to tell me who you think these are, because I don't know myself. I think she's actually quite attracted by BK. Pat, you say, yay, lions, it's about time they showed up. So it is, Pat. Well, we had them yesterday, or some of them yesterday. There's one coming straight towards us. Now, these are not the same ones we had yesterday. So I would say they probably are the telemates. I'm not sure what this one thinks it's doing. They might have a bit of a bit of a play here. That would be nice. Come on, play now. There we go. I think it's an old bone. Oh, she's climbed up into the tree. Have you got her there, BK? Shall I go forward a bit? Or are you alright? Okay. Into the tree with a stick. Is that it? No, it's a tortoise. Oh, shame. She's into the tree with a tortoise. The climbing elegance of a tortoise. Yeah, so she's picked up a Speaks hinged tortoise, which is a bit sad for the tortoise. Poor little tortoise. So just the 2 of them, I think, actually, not 3, as I originally thought. I'm just going to go around here. How's that, BK? Usable? All right. Yeah, there's quite a. She's calling, contact calling, and she's got quite a distinctive scarring on her back there. Oh, good night. Let's just wait here, because I think the other one will pop into this clearing and they'll do a little bit of playing. really quite nice having her in that sort of, I suppose, lion-coloured vegetation. It would be even nicer if she looked this way. BK, are you alright there? Have you got a disease or is it hay fever?
Hay fever.
I'm glad. I'm glad it's not a disease. Dave, you say, well done, James. All I did was follow some instructions on the radio, Dave, but thank you. Oh, here we go. Here comes the tortoise killer. The tortoise murderer has emerged. I wonder if that tortoise is dead. Well, Laura Moore, you got your wish. You say you were hoping to see a tortoise. Not quite what you had in mind. Yes, quite so. Let me move slightly, BK. I'm just gonna stick us in like this. Is that alright? Alright. Well, there it is. Very distinctive scar on that lioness's back. Oh, that poor tortoise. This cat's going to land on your lap, BK. I hope not as well. It will be very hard to explain why I've had to leave you out here. Here she comes. You just leave BK alone. Bit of blood on her leg there, the younger one. It's always quite scary when a lion comes that close by.
Experience captivating wildlife documentaries showcasing incredible animal behavior for free by visiting lionmountain.tv or downloading the app, accessible on both Apple and Android platforms.
Are you going to enjoy it? Cheers. Right, we're on our own with the lions. That's nice. Now, I don't know exactly who these lions are, but I remember that lioness in front with her. She's got very cold eyes. It's always nice to see. She's got sort of icy eyes.
What we have here is some red hartebeest, for those who don't know. And this is a very pretty antelope. Very impressive. Very good long distance runners. Incredibly good long distance runners, actually. And that comes from, obviously, the adaptation to migrate. Migrating animals, generally animals that can maintain not high speeds, but a good pace for long periods of time. So between 20 and 30 kilometers an hour for up to 5 to 6 hours. Generally, these guys can trot, which is pretty cool, you know. They could run marathons. It's a fairly biggish breeding herd. This is not a bachelor herd. This is a breeding herd, because there are youngsters, young males. There's one older male. Alex, between them and the zebra, well, zebra's not an antelope, but between them and the black wildebeest, I think, although the numbers of black wildebeest have gone down, and that's obviously due to the fact that the lions have been preying on them an awful lot, the numbers of black wildebeest in the basin definitely has gone down from last year to this year. Red hartebeest, obviously, because they are pretty aware animals all the time, they've evaded the predators, which is quite good. So we have probably lots of red hartebeest. We're going to send you back to James, whose felines are now moving.
Well, the weather is coming back in or closing back in as we look at these lions, and as far as I understand it, we should be missing a young male here. So we've only got the young female, and if this is who I think it is, we're missing a young male. He might just be lurking around somewhere in the background. See her smelling, perhaps hoping. It's rather important I figure out where they go now, because today is running day, and one doesn't want to run into them today. Let me move quickly. That'd be a good excuse to have day off today. Rest day, on account of not knowing where the lions are. Is that right? Gwyn says, am I going to run in the rain? Well, Gwyn, I've got to tell you, running in the rain here is a lot more pleasant than running when it's 39 degrees. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Oh, here she's back. Nancy, you wonder what they're thinking. Well, I often wonder the same, and whether or not, their thoughts could be likened to our own. And I suppose to a certain extent they must be able to. But I think they're a lot more basic and possibly a lot less consciously applied. I think this young female's looking for her brother. Yeah, look at her watching there, down the road. Yeah, Sarah, absolutely something could happen to the male if he's on his own, especially given the number of other males there are around here at the moment. Absolutely something could happen to the male. He could have a very torrid time. He could be killed quite easily. That was did you hear that noise, BK? That was the noise of gas coming out of this lioness. Movement, I think possibly back down towards the clearings near our camp. That means it's going to be rest day today, BK. Would love to go for a run, but will die if I do. Fresh lion tracks. Steaming fresh. BK has still got hay fever. BK, I think about as much fluid has come out of you this morning as has come out of the sky. I do feel sorry for you, I must say. Safari Barbie, animals, though lions very, very seldom join new prides. It's more likely, actually, that this pride would expand. And if it didn't manage to expand, I mean, it now consists of these two lionesses. Let's exclude the young male. I'm going to carry on moving. And the young male will be around, or if he is around, he's going to have to go away eventually. And this will be the nucleus of a new pride. So they wouldn't join another pride, they would expand it from within. And it's actually more likely that a lioness will end up on her own than try and join a new pride. It does happen very seldom, and sometimes if lions are related to each other, distantly related. The other thing that people often think about is, well, what do they think about in the rain? I mean, you know, don't they not like getting wet? And of course, unlike us, they don't have the experience of being in shelter. So it's either wet or it's hot or it's whatever. But their tolerance for what we would term discomfort is much, much higher than our own. Yeah, I think they're going to end up on the clearings outside our camp. Maybe in the camp. Possibly at the breakfast table. Yeah, you're right. Gwyn, who's directing the show today, says that this lioness is really interested in trees today. She is. She is interested in dendrology. Come on, car. Not long now before you can retire.
We did have some lions. Cedric's probably going to follow that one.
Like water off a duck's back, so they say. Egyptian geese, one preening, one feeding. And they've spotted a rival coming in. African grey hornbill calling above our heads. High-pitched whistle. Let's quickly go to James.
Well, we've just watched this lioness pounce on something. I don't think she's managed to catch anything there. Gwinyai, would it be incredibly unreasonable of me for me to suggest a replay? No, it's not necessary. A lot of action going on here. There we go, some fantastic little interlude there. The young lioness jumped on something. Obviously, whatever that thing was, it escaped. I suspect a scrub hare. Well, that's it, BK. I guess it's off day today. Right, this afternoon, normal drive, normal on safari show at 3 o'clock, normal drive 3:30 to 6:30. Then we've got an episode of the Cat Report, which will take you into some of the history of our cats between 6:30 and 7, and then 7 o'clock our town hall will take place. And if you don't know what a town hall is, everyone, it's a place where I'm not sure what the derivation is. I assume it's some sort of public gathering that would have occurred in a small town before an election or something like that. But basically, it's where Andre and I will give you any information that we can around where we're going in the future, and it's an opportunity for any of you to ask questions about where we're going in the future. And it'll be on all of our platforms at 7 o'clock this evening at Central African time. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for your questions and comments and your patience, especially during the earlier stages of this drive. We will see you again this afternoon, as I said, at 3 o'clock for On Safari and 3:30 for the Sunset Safari. Until then, bye-bye.